What's everyone, my name is Maddog, and welcome back to another Mad Theory. And guess what today, guys? We're actually going to be jumping back into FNAF for once in our life. You heard me correct, Five Nights at Freddy's, because there's been technically a whole lot of new stuff that has been happening, not to mention the new game that has been coming up, Security Breach, which I am hoping that this will be the final game. I'm pretty sure it may not be, but I'm hoping, okay? And also, there's also the new books that I'm going to actually be talking about, depending on which one can actually be, available to, solve the mystery of this lore. And the very first one I actually want to talk about is the very first book, which is actually the first story of the book, Into the Pit. Now, I'm pretty sure you've heard of the story before. There's this kid who actually goes into a time-traveling ball pit, which actually sets him back at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in the year 1985. So this is actually somewhere between, after the bite of 83 in FNAF 4, and before the animatronics became with it, and then the toy animatronics came in 1987, which is in FNAF 2. So there's a bit of a gray spot in this area. We don't exactly know why, but it's enough for me to understand where the entire killing spree must have began. Because as we obviously know, there's actually a Spring Bonnie animatronic suit that is lively active and actually tends to be able to kill kids. However, we actually don't see who is actually inside the suit. What we actually do know is that it actually has dead flesh inside, and I don't think it's William Afton inside of it. So, where the heck is William Afton at this point? Where the heck was he? Is this animatronics suit supposed to actually tell us that this is what happened? This is what William Afton was been doing inside the suit? Probably yes. But the one thing that people actually never quite understood was the entire time-traveling ball pit itself. Especially with MatPat. Oh, he is trying to unravel that story so bad like there's no tomorrow. But I kind of figured out what is actually going on. The whole sense and the whole theme of this entire story is all about time traveling. And as we all know, time traveling is actually very fictional, because that would mean a time machine. And I don't think you have one of those laying around. Time traveling is going to be one of the most difficult things a human can ever possibly master. Yet this ball pit can be able to let children time travel, or maybe any adult perhaps. Because guess what? The children's dad actually got sucked into the freaking time traveling ball pit by Spring Bonnie. But where can this actually all connect, by the way? We're trying to actually figure out, the continuity to all of this, right? There isn't no sense when it comes to time traveling in any of the other games, right? But maybe just one. I'm talking about FNAF World. The most cutest and adorable, yep, crazy game of all time, which Scott Cawthon says he's apparently ashamed of. Well, I don't think so, because technically speaking, he wants us to play the wacky game, which is actually allowing us to be able to freaking not gain any of other evidence just by playing it. That's what he wants us to do. And I know what you're thinking. What makes time traveling in FNAF be able to become in FNAF World, huh? What does FNAF World have to do with time traveling? Well, here's the thing. I don't think FNAF World is actually about time traveling. But it's actually supposed to be, making sure that what event occurs has to happen correctly. From the very first time when any of you players have actually managed to get the game, Fredbear has always been talking to you about gathering up clocks. Clocks for what exactly? Well, I think I might have the answer to that. By gathering up all the clocks, whatever happens in the FNAF World universe would actually happen in the actual world that FNAF is happening right now. And the only best FNAF game that actually brings up that kind of stuff is actually in FNAF 3. We are making sure that whatever happens in FNAF 3 actually does what it's supposed to do. It is like that it is actually meant to be. It's like we're the ones who are writing the events. But would you consider this time traveling? Because as we know in some time traveling events, whatever we do into the past will actually become that present. And for the upcoming future events that are yet to come. Take some of these for examples, like the Teen Titans Go to the Movies. They actually travel back in time to make sure that no heroes ever existed except for them. But however, that really actually did not go too well. Or how about the Avengers Endgame, where they actually travel back in time to be able to collect every single one of the Infinity Gems before Thanos ever did. And that one was a really, really close call, because otherwise they would have actually destroyed the entire world and nothing else would have been left. Those are what you considered as time traveling. But then you actually have, just rewriting the past, which is a little bit more complicated than you think. If you wanted to rewrite the past, then that means you would obviously have to time travel, right? So how the hell can you actually rewrite the past when actually doing nothing? Since that in FNAF world, you're just basically collecting clocks, what good is that gonna make? So how about take this for example of rewriting time itself. Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal would actually involves with the Numeron Code, which is actually some kind of special card that allows someone to actually rewrite the past, present, and the future. It is literally rewriting all of history. Or like how Don Thousand actually requires the Numeron Code by using his spell card, Numeron Network. By removing one Numeron trap card from his deck or hand, sending it to the graveyard to activate its effect, it can actually destroy a card, depending what it is. The only ones that I know is Xyz and Spell. None of the other Numeron revision trap cards were ever mentioned because those were the only two that ever existed. And by doing so, it can actually destroy any Xyz monster, replacing it with a new monster, or replacing a spell card with a new spell card in play. Don Thousand was rewriting what the player has actually played and replaced it with something else. That's the beauty of rewriting time. And he actually even did it with even have to time travel. Is there a connection when it comes to time traveling and rewriting? Well, yes, it actually kind of does. Because as I said before, when it comes to traveling back to the past, you're changing the past entirely since you're actually there. And therefore, when you get back to the present, well, that means everything else changes in the present. That is if done right. If not done properly, or haven't actually made it out in time, no pun intended, but something more catastrophic may actually occur. As of a FNAF world, you actually get to see that when you collect the clocks, it's actually happening what's going on with the events in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. There are actually specific minigames to actually complete when doing that, and those minigames are kind of actually somehow related to the FNAF 3 minigames. So that all the children that got murdered would actually get their happiest day. As for the time traveling ball pit, well, technically speaking, it doesn't technically change anything like at all. Except for the fact that when Spring Bunny comes out and actually replaces the child's dad, he acts like it's actually his dad and no one actually expects a thing except for the kid's pet and the child himself. So what they had to do was basically just send that Spring Bunny animatronic back into the past. But what Spring Bunny did show was all the actions that he did do was kill every single child in the freaking pizzeria, notifying that this is actually where all the Freddy Fazbears actually began. So the conclusion to all of this is actually, well, is time traveling and also rewriting the past line connected? Well, there technically is. I guess in the FNAF universe, it actually all depends on how you're actually doing it. Whether it's just one thing or the other, or it could actually possibly be both. However, we actually do now know that in FNAF World, it's actually trying to actually make the events happen in FNAF 3, making sure that everything is actually in order. And as for the time traveling ball pit, well, technically, it actually didn't do anything as much. Except for the fact that when Spring Bunny came out, no one expected anything that it was even an animatronic. Oh, and by the way, before I actually even finish off this video, I actually want to talk about the Spring Bunny animatronic, by the way. We've seen now, like, a lot of Spring Bunny animatronic models, and I'm starting to get the feeling there's something very odd and yet somehow very similar, mysterious to this. When you look at the front cover of this Spring Bunny animatronic, you see its nose and its mouth or something like that. It is so freaking long and like a freaking shape of a triangle. And look at its eyes, they're actually blue. A lot of people have been thinking that what eye color was the original Spring Bunny animatronic are. Some people may see it's green, some people may say it's blue. Maybe I'm starting to get the feeling that maybe the original Spring Bunny animatronic actually did have blue eyes. Including this one. And take a look at the ears as well. They are freakishly long, don't you think? And back to talking about that nozzle that I said first off. This reminds me a lot about the Springtrap image back in the Freddy Files booklet 2.0. The sequel book to the Freddy Files #1. And if you actually go to the back page, you actually get to see this picture of Springtrap. Look at its nozzle. It is also the shape of a triangle, just like the Spring Bunny animatronic in the ball pit. And one of its ears looks as seemingly long as we expect. Not to mention that this Springtrap actually gets dissolved and pixelated whatever, which could be assumedly what relates back to either probably FNAF Help Wanted or FNAF AR Special Delivery. Or maybe it's another Springtrap model that we're actually going to see. Which I might start getting the feeling that Springtrap, aka William Afton, might be coming back, but not technically as, you know, the Glitch Trap model. I'm just saying. You guys may not be able to agree with me, but that's what I'm gonna say. But I will also talk about Glitch Trap sometime soon, because I have a thing to say about that guy. And also, do you even realize that when it comes to this specific Springtrap model, have you realized that he actually does not have any dead corpse inside his body? Because, to be honest, he doesn't technically have any dead corpse inside of him at all. Again, it's the exact same thing when it comes to, you know, this Spring Bunny animatronic suit here. We don't even know who's this freaking dead flesh of a body even belongs to. Not to mention that I don't think we can even see William Afton's dead flesh inside Springtrap in Five Nights at Freddy's AR Special Delivery either. I've been looking inside of his gut so many times that I can't be able to figure out if his freaking dead corpse, not even his dead face, is even in there anymore. So what could that actually possibly mean? Could William Afton really be coming back, but not as we thought we believe? Guess we're gonna have to wait until next Maddog's Theory episodes, huh? Because that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is finally it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and wow, that was really a lot to cover up. But there's actually going to be now more mad theories for FNAF that are coming, because there's a lot of things that are once again that we need to probably check for things that we have missed, and try to be able to look out for things that we may get confused about, because things that we actually look at aren't what they always seem. That's the beauty when it comes to my FNAF theories, by the way. That's what I try to do. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you liked it, please like and subscribe after when you finish watching this video. And as always, my name is Maddog, and peace out!